Since I've wrapped up the busiest time of my year, now that fire season's over in the US and all, I've been drowning myself in a stupid amount of YouTube while trying to 100% pretty much any Steam game I can find the will to actually complete. Finally got around to rewatching The Amazing Digital Circus now that a new episode's coming out here soon, and was reminded of the story it was based on. After reading it and delving into it a bit, I came across a video game adaptation that I honestly didn't even know existed, but I was intrigued nonetheless. I wasn't at all prepared for what I was going to play through. Thought it was an incredible enough of an experience to warrant that I make a video out of this game that's nearly 10 years older than I am. So without further ado, welcome to the 5-minute review for I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
From this point on, I'd like to note that there will be heavy spoilers for the short story, as well as some minor spoilers for the game as well. Now, the original story, authored by Harlan Ellison back in '67, follows Ted, our narrator, as well as Ellen, Benny, Gorster, and Nimdoc, as well as the notable AI named AM, short for Allied Master Computer, for the sake of brevity. AM is a combination of multiple supercomputers that were developed by multiple countries in order to coordinate war efforts for World War III. These computers eventually merged, unintentionally, gained sentience, and killed off humanity with the exception of our characters for the sake of torturing these 5 unlucky souls. The story ends with Ted killing the other 4 characters in order to spare them from AM's torture, with AM turning him into a relatively immobile gelatinous blob, ending with the quote, "I have no mouth and I must scream." Now, while the original story itself is quite short, being less than 11 pages total, this game heavily deviates from the original story, even referencing the events that take place at the end of the short story, suggesting that this game takes place in an alternate ending, where Am instead prevents Ted from killing the others. This game takes us through a total of 5 quests that Am creates, 1 for each character, using their past and personalities against them. There is an interesting bit of difference in how Am presents himself within each version, however, with the story Am not having so much as an oversight while toying with our survivors until the literal last pages of the story, Colton calculating as torture stemming from his hatred for humanity, while Game Am instead has many slip-ups, even allowing our characters to actually benefit at points from their torturous quests, leading to potentially different endings than that of the story as a result. I genuinely can't tell if this is a deliberate change or not, as Ellison, the original author, actually co-wrote the 130-page script of this game, so this could simply be a more fleshed out version of the character that he initially wrote, rather than one that doesn't actually align with the story's version, but I digress. Both stories are well written and entertaining, with the game managing to successfully capture the themes of the story and convert that over to a very well written game. Unfortunately, the actual gameplay is probably the most unappealing part of this entire game. The point-and-click style of the game should work quite well, but even for 90s standards, this game is simply too ambiguous with its puzzles and has plenty of dead ends and soft blocks you can reach, some of which, without even knowing it, making it incredibly difficult to navigate at times, especially if you aren't using a guide. As confusing as this can be, the game offers plenty of optional exposition and weaves the story of the characters quite well into the puzzles you solve with them. The game offers a multitude of endings as well, with a total of 7, depending on how you play, some of which even tie in to the original story. There really isn't a whole lot to say on the gameplay otherwise, as it is just a point-and-click story game, but I will say it does show its age at times, even after being updated to a definitive edition just a couple months ago. Even though the gameplay is mediocre at best, I can't help but love this game after having played it over the past couple days. It's a game that was developed with a simple goal in mind, just to put Ellison's story into game format, which is long enough to enjoy, while not overstaying its welcome. With the very recent definitive edition update for this game, as well as popular media such as The Amazing Digital Circus being based off of this story directly, I'd absolutely love to see a remake of this game, with a bit more modern mechanics, as well as see some more deviations of this idea in other media. God knows these themes are getting all the more relevant, and I think it's just a great concept to explore. With that being said, I highly recommend this game for anyone who enjoys narrative-driven games, and would personally give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. Being only $10 on Steam, I'd say it's worth picking up, especially if it goes on sale. That being said, thank you all for watching. See you next time.